Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Oh, no, I've got a huge echo. Hold on. I'm going to fix the technical issues and I will be back. how are we getting on? I'm not doing too bad. A few technical issues again this morning, but I think we're getting there. 3:19 a.m. at work. I have a few. Yeah, that's early. Oh, yeah, I'm not jealous of that at all. Hopefully work's not too bad for you today then, and it'll be a nice quick shift. So for the folk who've just, let's see if we can get you to your follower goal and beyond. Well, I hope so. That would be good. To be fair, I've not been on here for very long. This is, that's my week anniversary today. So I did my first live stream last Sunday. Really, really enjoyed it, and I'm loving it so far, and is this my 5th one? So yeah, I think it's going to be a while before you can get rid of me. But I'm really enjoying all the chat and stuff. I'm actually a food blogger, so I've done the whole Instagram bit, and I've done some like Facebook live cook-alongs and stuff. But I really, really enjoy the whole chat element of this because it just makes it so much more interesting. And I love cooking, but I find that I much more enjoy it if I'm either with friends or if I've got somebody to chat to. I find that if I'm just cooking by myself, it's not as much fun. Oh, good morning, Straight Chronic. I hope you're well today. 4:20 here. Is that 4:20 in the morning? You should really be in bed. But I appreciate you being here, and I hope I can make you all hungry with a nice sushi sandwich and a banana loaf this morning, which might be a bit strange at 4 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, AM. Yeah, that's quite full on. That's why I stream 6 days a week. Yeah, 6 days is quite a commitment. I sort of committed it to begin with 3 days a week, and that's, so far I've added in an extra one, and I'm doing an extra one next week as well, which has already been planned in. So like your accent, thank you. It's funny because I was speaking to another Scottish streamer sometime last week, and so she's also from somewhere in Scotland, and they knew immediately that I was from Glasgow because of this accent. But I really struggle. I can tell if someone's Scottish, but I struggle to say like who's from what part of Scotland, apart from Fife, Johnny Scottish, because that's a strong accent, but one that I really like. Happy 1st week anniversary. Thank you very much. I should really be making like a proper cake or something. Maybe I'll do that for my 1 year anniversary. I'll do like a little cake stream or something. Right, I'm gonna get my rice on. I put you in Glasgow, yeah. Well, apparently, I didn't realise that there's a way that you can kind of tell that if people are from Glasgow, but apparently a lot of people from Glasgow, they're quite nasally, like they talk from like here, which I had no idea, and I wasn't aware that that's how I talked, but apparently that's a thing. So yeah, worked through there for a year up by Sky Park. I used to work near Sky Park actually, just at Charing Cross, so not too far away at all. Okay, so I'm gonna get my rice on because that'll need a bit of time to cook and then cool before we can do the rest of it. Never heard that before. Yeah, apparently that's a thing. I had never heard it before either, but that's immediately how that they knew that I was from Glasgow, was because of this kind of nasally voice, which I thought, oh, that's nice. Right, so what are we saying? So it's saying for 3 servings, we want 250 grams of sushi rice. So really, I'm not quite sure how much 3 servings means, because if you're making sushi, I mean, I can eat a lot of sushi, so I would probably have quite a big portion, but I'll see how much we've got and then just go from there. Before, you can always tell who the Americans are. Apparently we are loud. Although I don't think that's all Americans. I would say that you can get maybe I mean, the thing is, there are a lot of Scottish people that are really loud as well, so. But yeah, I struggle with American accents as well. I would have no idea. I mean, I'd be able to say, well, they're American, but I would never know what part of America or anything that they were from. Right. I reckon that might be enough. So I've done 150 grams, just over 150 grams. In fact, no, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do all, because that's a waste of rice. There's not enough left to keep for anything. So I've got 250 grams, and I've just to wash it to get, it says to wash, stir in a circle with your hand, drain and repeat until the water is clear, and then soak in cold water before draining completely. There, I forgot me. Oh, don't forget about the cuppa. There's nothing worse than a half cold cuppa, or one that if you've left the bag in for too long. So definitely go and sort that out. Watch my stream. What did you think? I liked your accent. I think sometimes American accents can seem, I don't know, like sometimes you hear them and it sounds like that kind of stereotypical American accent, and it sounds almost kind of cartoony. But I really liked your accent. I didn't think it was too strong, but it was like, it had like a nice, I think this is a Scottish word, but it had a nice kind of twang to it, if that makes sense. Right, so I'm going to go and wash this really quickly. So I'm just going to put it in a sieve, pop the rice in, and then wash it through with cold water until the water starts to go clear. And I think that gets the kind of the starch out of it. But so that's like really milky, the water that's coming out. Quite therapeutic though. So apparently you just want to do this for a minute or two until the water goes clear. I always wonder what the difference is between sushi rice and risotto rice. But this rice seems quite, like the grains are quite small. Right, I think we're just about there. And then once this has gone clear, I'm going to stick it back in the bowl and cover it with cold water and just let it sit for a bit. Yeah, that looks good. Pop it back in my bowl. And stick some cold water in there. I think you just want enough to kind of cover it. So I'm just going to leave that to the side. You're very welcome. But yeah, I've heard a lot worse American accents. But then the thing is, I really don't like my accent, and I think when you hear, especially someone from Glasgow, when you hear them on TV, you think, oh my god, is that really how we talk? I don't know if that's just me, but every time. Right, so when that's just sitting and soaking, oh, that was silly, I've put the box away. I need my instructions. Right, I'll keep that just in case so that I know what I'm doing. Right, so we're leaving that to soak. And in the meantime, I am going to I think I'll stick my banana loaf on. As I was saying before, I've got these three really sad looking bananas. I mean, yeah. But that's exactly the kind of bananas that you want for a banana loaf, because when they start to go that kind of black way, they get a lot sweeter, so you don't need nearly as much sugar or anything in your banana loaf, and it just tastes really, really nice. feel that way when I hear anyone outside the Eastern America. Yeah, no, that's not. That's the same with a Scottish accent though. I don't know what it is about the Scottish accent, but if you meet someone who's not Scottish and they find out that I'm Scottish, the first thing that they do is do a fake Scottish accent, and they just sound like Shrek or what's his face, Mel Gibson in Braveheart. I think that's not what we sound like. I'm going to grab a bowl to do my banana loaf. And I can stick my my oven on, so we want the oven to be preheated to 180. I'll just get rid of the other trays. This is one that I make all the time. This is like my kind of my standard, and I make it constantly. Anytime I've got bananas that are going off, banana loaf. Sorry for that. Are you one of these people who does the Scottish accent if you ever meet anyone Scottish? What else is going in the onig? Every time. I mean, you would think the fact that I'm making it, I should really know how to pronounce it. What is going in it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some tofu and kind of bread it with cornflakes, because that makes it go quite nice and crispy. And I eat gluten-free, so I find gluten-free breadcrumbs don't work very well, and they're quite difficult to get hold of, so you have to really make them yourself, and I just don't find they go as crispy as the cornflakes do. So I'm going to coat the tofu in some cornflakes, fry it off, and then in the rest of it we're going to have some avocado, some cucumber, some carrot, and some spring onion, and then obviously wrap it in the seaweed. So it'll all be vegan and hopefully quite tasty. And then I'm going to do maybe like a kind of spicy mayo just to put over the top, if I remember. So if I forget, please remind me, because that is what I want to do. Love banana loaf, but I need chocolate. Yes, chocolate chips are going in it. There's no point in making a banana loaf if it's not got chocolate chips. And I like to get a bar of chocolate instead of chocolate chips, because then you can chop the bar up and have big chunks of chocolate, and then it means that when you heat it up again after, like if I'm having like afternoon tea or something, I'll chop a little slice off and stick it in the microwave, and then it means that the chocolate, it'll melt again. Oh, so good. Right, so I'm going to get started with this. So first of all, we want our 3 bananas. And this is where, when you open them up, that you see that they are actually black and you probably can't use them, but hopefully we'll get enough out of them. We shall soon see. And what is everyone else up to this lovely Sunday? Is it still summer where you are? Have you had a summer? Have you stolen our summer? Our summer's definitely gone missing this year, I think. We were looking at one of the trees out at the front of our garden yesterday, and it actually, we thought, right, either it's not well or it's autumn. So is it early enough, is it late enough rather to be autumn, or do I need to do something with the tree? Does it need some kind of medicine or something? Back to work. Well, enjoy Link of Hyrule. Thanks for coming along. Do pop back in once you finish work, or if you get another wee break and you can see how we're getting on. But it was lovely to see you again. And hopefully I'll make another one of your streams if I'm able to stay up late enough. What made you decide to stream on Twitch? That's a good question. Do you have any streamers you've been inspired by? Right, what made me decide? So it's funny because I've been doing the food blogging for, how long's that now? 4 years, so since 2016. Basically, I started my food blog because I was diagnosed with IBS. So I really struggled with different food intolerances and kind of knowing what I could and couldn't eat. And I had just sort of figured out that I was gluten intolerant. So I was kind of struggling with different foods because I'm a huge food fan. I love food. And that kind of put a bit of a dampener on it all for me. So I thought, I'm going to start this food blog. I'm going to try and come up with good recipes, find sort of products that I can eat and share them with other people, because I thought, if I feel like this, surely there's going to be other people that feel the same way, and maybe get a kind of a bit of a community going. So started that, really enjoyed it, still do, and so for the last wee while I've started doing sort of more like Facebook lives and things like that, and I think that's probably, out of all the little pieces I do, obviously because you've got the food blog, you've got all the social media, there's loads and loads of different things like reviews, restaurant reviews, kind of things like that. Of all the things that I've done so far, it's the Facebook lives that I've enjoyed the most. Possibly because I could talk the back legs off a donkey and it gives me like an outlet just to talk. So I really enjoyed that. And I didn't really know that much about stream until just recently. About Twitch until just recently. I think because obviously it's kind of, you expect it's like a gaming platform. But I'd seen, I think it was actually on Instagram, I saw a German lady who does a cooking stream on here, and she just comes on and talks and cooks for about 4 or 5 hours, and I thought, that's exactly what I want to do. That is right up my street. So I thought, why not? I mean, I've got sort of a couple of cameras, the lights and stuff, because I do that anyway. We'll set it up, give it a bash, see what happens. If it doesn't come to anything, there's no harm in it. It gives me an outlet, like I said, to just blather for however long, whenever I feel like it. And there seems to be such a nice kind of vibe on here, that it's very much a community spirit. Everybody's sort of out to help each other. Everybody's so friendly. And I think sometimes you miss that with some of the other social media platforms, that it is, I don't know, it's just not quite as, there's just not as much of that sort of community feel. I feel like I'm quite lucky because there's a lot of people who, sort of in my kind of circle, it's all people who have sort of food intolerances or IBS or food allergies. So there's definitely a kind of a community feel there, because we all know that we've all got these kind of struggles, and we are trying to kind of help each other and help others through it. But it's still a completely different vibe to what's on here. And yeah, only been doing it a week, but really enjoying it so far. I'll do stream games, mainly odd time. Your Instagram looks, oh, thank you very much, Straight Chronic. I have worked really hard at the Instagram. It's not an easy platform to be on, but I do enjoy doing that as well, because I love cooking. So there's always something nice about cooking something nice and then making it look really pretty and getting a good picture. But I think the thing with that as well, that you spend so long trying to get a nice photo, that by the time you're actually ready to eat whatever it is you've just made, it's cold. So I can't remember at the last time I actually had a hot meal, because I'm always too busy taking photos, and then it gets popped in the microwave, and then it gets popped in the microwave just to heat it up again, and then you kind of think, I'm hungry after all that. But I'll stream games mainly what time I do just chatting. I'm a mod for another Twitch streamer. You've settled in very well with streaming, as it's tough. Well done. Thank you very much. Yeah, I do notice that. I mean, I think my longest stream so far has been just under 3 hours, and I noticed that I'm exhausted after it, but exhausted but happy, and that's the way I want to be. So I'm definitely going to keep doing it, because I do really enjoy it. I'm a big foodie. I know it's hard to make food pics look good. Yeah, it really is. And then I kind of struggle, like, you see all these people who do food pictures, but they're so sort of fake, because when you look at what goes into it behind the scenes, like they'll coat things in paint or glue or something to make it look perfect. And then I think, but that, surely if someone's then going to recreate your recipe, it's never going to look the way that you've made it because you've added all these other things. And I always feel that that's a wee bit, I don't know, then you get this sort of negative feeling then if you've tried to copy a recipe and it doesn't look as good as they've made it, you kind of go, oh, like, I'm maybe not quite as good. So I don't know, I like to try and keep things as real as possible, just then make them look as nice as you can. I've been to Japan a few times. I always find it funny seeing all the fake food and when, aha. Yeah, I've never been to Japan, but I've seen a few different sort of YouTube videos and stuff of like different travel bloggers going around and trying different food and stuff. And that seems to be a big thing over there, but I don't find that makes it very appetizing. I mean, that's, I'm not going to see some fake food and go, oh, I want to eat that plastic, thanks very much. But that might just be me, I'm not sure. Right, so I'm going to get the rest of this banana loaf on the go. I'm going to just double check my... Oh, turn the volume in the mic down, hold on. Hopefully that's a wee bit better. I don't want to be blasting everybody's ears off. Right, so get rid of these. So I've mashed up, show you this here. So I've mashed up the banana so it looks really, really attractive. So that's the banana there. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, Straight Chronic, much appreciated. Nice to have you here. So to the mashed banana, I'm going to add sugar and melted butter. So I'm going to grab that just now and measure it out. So this is a recipe that's on my blog, and I would say it's pretty much foolproof. So it's gluten-free and vegan and works pretty much every time. You can throw everything together, fire it in the oven, and you've got this delicious loaf after. So I'm going to get the sugar out. So Straight Chronic, did you love Japan? What would you say was your favourite food that you had over there? I would love to go, I think mainly because of the food, because the Japanese food is just so tasty. Trying to get butter out of the fridge without knocking everything over is like an Olympic sport. Right, so for this we need, if memory serves me rightly, I might need to double check because it's been a couple of weeks since I've made this. Yeah, I'm gonna have a quick look just to be sure. Because I think 180 grams of flour, I can remember that much. And then I think it's 60 grams of butter and 110 grams of sugar, but I'm gonna double check because I don't want to get it wrong. So I can actually show you it again. So that is ideally how the banana loaf is going to look when we're finished. Nice and soft and fluffy with the chunks of chocolate. Yes, I was right. 110 grams of sugar and 60 grams of butter. And obviously for this one I'm just going to use dairy-free spread, which works just as well, but obviously if you're not vegan or dairy-free, you can just use regular butter. Went to a couple of Michelin star restaurants. Oh, I bet that's good in Japan. But my favourite of them was a little hole in the wall and no couple ran it right through. Oh, see that? Yeah. See, that sounds amazing. And I feel like sometimes you almost have to go, if you're traveling, you almost have to go and meet someone who's from there, or someone who's maybe been there before, so that you can get the kind of the best insider tips, because they're going to be the best places to go, and it is going to be these tiny little holes in a wall that are going to be the nicest. Best sushi I've ever had. Good enough, I got every YouTube. Oh, yum. Yeah, there's nothing better than some good sushi. And I'm not vegan myself. I'm trying to cut down my meat and my fish, but there's just something nice about proper good fish sushi. Although I think probably my favourite part of sushi is avocado. I love avocado in sushi. Do you ever add walnuts? I actually personally haven't. I'm not a huge nut fan. I don't know if it's maybe the texture of it in the loaf, but I do know people who've tried the recipe and they've put nuts in it, and they have said that it works really well. So it definitely can be done, and you could probably add it in as well as the chocolate and everything else. But for me, I think it's definitely a texture thing. I like, if I'm having a cake, I like it to be just like nice and soft and no crunchy bits. I'm not into the crunchy bits in a loaf. Right, so I've got 110 grams of sugar, so I'm just going to add that in. And then I'm going to measure out 60 grams of butter, and then I'm going to pop it in the microwave just to melt it down quickly, and then we'll mix all of that together. And I actually really like this spread. I think it tastes exactly the same as butter, or well, margarine probably. Bang on, that'll do. Right, so I'm going to stick this in the microwave quickly, and then we can start mixing that all together. I'll grab my wooden spoon, and then I can, excuse you, and then I can stick my second camera on, and I can show you that all coming together. Yes, so that just took about 30 seconds to melt down. Oh, of course. So did you have a holiday booked to Japan for this year, and it means you can't? Has it been cancelled, or did you not get round to actually being able to book anything? But I think you're right enough. I think travel is kind of off the table this year, unfortunately. That's how I'm kind of looking at it. I think this year is a bit of a... I think we'll all be happy when it's next year and we can all kind of move on with life and almost kind of start again. The microwave is in the closet. It does look like that, but that's actually in there. We've got a little utility room. So I've got my washing machine and my tumble dryer, and the microwave's just on top. Mainly because I used to have it in here, just where these machines are. I've got the KitchenAid and my Thermomix, but it was getting so cluttered, and the microwave is the one that I can try and use the least. So I thought, well, if I stick that, there's room in there, I'll stick it in there, and then it's out of the road. But yeah, it does look like I'm just going in and out of a cupboard. We're meant to go back to Iceland next month for 10 days. Oh, cancelled on Monday. Oh, that's so frustrating. Well, I hope you got your money back at least. Oh, it's rotten, isn't it? And it's so frustrating because there's absolutely nothing you can do. But I suppose you think, well, hopefully if it gets cancelled, then you'll get your money back. And you're better to be safe than to get a little holiday, and hopefully you'll be able to do it either later on this year or next year. But And I think the other frustrating thing is as well that everything's still changing so much, so you're always kind of unsure of what's going to happen. Or I think once you've got that kind of final, no, it's done, then you can kind of move on from it. But the whole time, if you're kind of looking forward to it and you're still not 100% sure if it's going to happen or not, it's just rotten. Yeah, it sucks. I had a 3-month Asia trip, Mark. Oh. Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll just mean that you'll get lots of time to plan a nice trip for next year, and then you can enjoy it much more then. But I think that's it as well. I think even if you were able to actually fly just now, I don't think it would be very enjoyable. I think I would be so paranoid sitting on the plane with other people, and even once you get there, you never know, depending on where you're going, you're not sure what the rules are and what you have to kind of, if you have to wear a mask wherever you go, or the different rules and stuff. And I think you're better kind of holding off, and you'll enjoy it much more when you're able to go properly and actually enjoy it. Yeah, all money back, but kept money with car rentals. They offered us double upgrade, etc. Next time we're back. Oh, that's good. Oh, so that was maybe sort of to make sure that they were still getting some money in, but that's amazing. Rescheduled next October. Well, you would hope that by next October we should be back to normal and not have any problems with anything. But I will keep my fingers crossed for you, because that would be good if you could get that going. 3 months, I know. Oh. And you'd be so looking forward to 3 months away. That's so frustrating. My friends work on the airlines. The planes are still, for the most part, empty, and a mask is required. See, at least that's quite good. At least they're not sort of jam-packing the flights. But even then, I think, fair enough wearing a mask, but if it's a longer flight, I don't really understand how that's going to work, because surely, I mean, I know they've got like the air filtration systems and stuff, but surely if there's even, say, 50 to 100 people, you're all kind of eventually breathing in the same air. But I don't know, I'm sure there's a technical way that it's okay, but oh, I know it's just rotten. But hopefully we'll be coming out the other end of it soon. I'm gonna grab some self-raising flour and we'll pop that into our mix. Yeah, and while we're stuck at home, at least we can make ourselves nice cakes and things to make ourselves feel a bit better. I'll still get a spoon, especially. Can only travel within the US for the most part. Flights are not that long. Oh, that's not too bad then. Yeah, I suppose that's it. Yeah, you're struggling to kind of travel between countries. Planes will no longer recycle the air, otherwise they'd be grounded. Oh, of course. Well, that's good. At least that's something, but I don't know how safe I would feel on a plane at the moment. Just means that we'll all really look forward to our holidays the next time we can go somewhere. Right, so I'm gonna measure out 180 grams of self-raising flour. You can also use, if you've not got self-raising flour, you can use plain flour and just add a teaspoon of baking powder, and that pretty much does the same job for this loaf anyway. Nearly there. Okay. And obviously I'm using gluten-free flour, which was good fun to try and get hold of in the kind of the middle of the pandemic. Not quite sure why, but we really struggled. I think flour was kind of an issue with everybody. Right, so pop the flour in. And then I'm just going to mix all of this together. wonder if I can get this. Oh, look at that. Right, and then I'm just going to mix this all together until it comes together to kind of form a bit of a kind of a dough. And then we can add our chocolate chips and then it'll go in the oven. So like I said, it's such an easy recipe, this one. And I've yet to meet someone who doesn't like it. I mean, how can you not like a banana loaf with chocolate chunks? I think we were kind of one of the lucky ones that we didn't actually have any holidays booked for this year yet. We were just kind of going to wait and see what happened, and maybe kind of book something last minute. So we've not had the hassle of having anything cancelled, but my mum and dad were actually meant to be going to Mexico at, I think it was the start of March. And the night before they were due, because they were gonna drive down to Manchester from where we are. They were gonna drive down to Manchester and fly from there. And I think it was the night before they were due to drive down, they got the confirmation that it was cancelled. Because obviously if it hadn't been officially cancelled and they just decided that they didn't feel safe going, they would have lost all their money. But luckily it was like fully cancelled, so they get everything back. But so frustrating. You're just so looking forward to this holiday. Right, so there we go. That's what it looks like. It's all come together now. And I'll now just do some chocolate chunks to pop in there as well. I think actually, while we've been waiting, I think the rice should be okay. So I'm just going to drain off the water from the rice and then I can stick that on to cook. Well, that's weird. I didn't think soaking the rice would actually do anything, because I think this is slightly different rice that I usually use, and I don't think it normally says to soak it. But the rice, it was quite clear before I soaked it, and now it's gone kind of white. So I'm not sure what that does, but it's definitely done something. Hopefully next year things will be a lot better. Yeah, definitely. Silver lining, working from home 5 days a week equals living the dream. Yeah, I know, that's it. I mean, I have to count myself lucky. I work from home as well, so it's not been nearly as difficult for me as it has been for a lot of people. And because of what I do, a lot of it I don't rely on anyone else really. Whereas you see all these poor people they've lost jobs, or companies have gone bust because they've just not been able to make it through it. Yeah, that's it. You always have to look at the positive side of things. It could be much, much worse. So that's it. And next year, hopefully, will be a better year. Although I feel like we've been saying that for, I think, since about 2016. We keep saying next year's the year. But touch wood, I don't think anything can top this year really. Right, so how do we want to do this now? Add the washed rice to 330 ml of fresh cold water and bring to the boil. And I was saying the other day on a stream, I've got this really old measuring cup, and almost all of the numbers have come off, so it makes it really difficult to see what you're actually measuring. So it's always a bit of guesswork. But I think that's there or thereabouts. So what is it you do, Johnny Scottish, that you're able to work from home? Because I do feel like that's definitely been a proper luxury at the moment. And does that mean that were you already set up to work from home, or did you have to kind of work around that and build yourself a bit of an office? So I'm sure that was my sister. She works from home at the moment, but she didn't used to. So then she was trying to find like an office setup. So she was trying to buy herself like a desk and a work chair and stuff. And for so long, it was all sold out. she had to wait for ages before she could actually get hold of a desk. Obviously just because everybody was in the same position and everybody's trying to get the same stuff. It's just such a bizarre situation. Send software engineer for my sins. I can work anywhere in the world. Well, that is handy. And I think that this whole situation has definitely shown that it definitely helps. That if you're able to be flexible like that. So I already work from home 1 day a week, so I don't want to live anymore. But yeah, I think that's it as well. I think it's definitely made big companies and bosses and stuff realise that actually they can probably save quite a lot of money by letting people work from home. And because we've had to do it for the last wee while, it's shown that it is doable and that people still do get stuff done. I mean, I find that sometimes I'm actually more productive when I'm working from home than if I would be in an office somewhere. Although one thing that I quite like, I go to a co-working space. So there's one in the city centre of Glasgow, and I just go, say maybe once every 2 weeks, just for the full day, and it gets me out of the house for a little while, and it means that I get to meet some different people and talk to different people. Obviously this was before I started this, so I was kind of sitting in the house all day every day going a wee bit stir crazy, but it's quite nice to be able to do that. But obviously that was closed for a good few months. It's open again now, but I'm being cautious, and I'll maybe wait and give it another month or two before I start going back again. My mental health has been much better as the commute into Edinburgh, because that's probably a fairly lengthy commute, depending obviously on where in Fife you are. I mean, I used to do the commute into Glasgow, which isn't really that far from where I am, and even that was there's nothing worse than sitting on a train every morning full of people who all don't want to be there. It's not my idea of fun. Although I did think that it was almost quite nice because you could I hated the trip in the morning, but the trip in the evening back home, I thought it gave me maybe half an hour to kind of switch off. Oh, it's the drivers. Oh, of course. Yeah, if you drive, that's not fun. And I can't imagine it's particularly easy or quick to drive into Edinburgh in the morning. I don't like driving around Edinburgh as it is. I think the road layouts are so complicated and it's just so busy. So yeah, I'm very happy for you that you're able to work from home now. And hopefully that'll continue. Right, so just to bring this to the boil, so we've added the rice, although I've just realised actually I've possibly added too much water, but I'm going to drain it off anyway, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, I've put in too much water because I've not used as much rice as they've said, but that'll be okay, I'm sure. I'm sure I can just kind of skim off the excess. Right, so bring to the boil, then simmer on a low heat for 10 minutes with the lid on. Is that a low heat? No. There we go. I do enjoy cooking with these little hobs, but they can be a wee bit temperamental. But I think I'm getting more and more used to them. So, right, so I'm going to get the lid for that, and we can just leave that cooking. And hopefully that's calm enough. I find as well sometimes if you have to commute somewhere, you're almost best to sort of change your hours slightly so that you're not working like 9 to 5, and then it means that you can avoid the rush hours, because the rush hours are just horrific. Right, while that's cooking, I'm gonna grab some chocolate chips or a bar of chocolate so I can chop it up and pop it into the loaf. I'm gonna use milk chocolate, but I think I prefer dark chocolate. So if you've got dark chocolate, I would say use that instead. But I made, for the very first time on Friday night, I made my own eclairs. So like the choux pastry filled with cream and topped with chocolate. So that's why I've got milk chocolate instead of dark chocolate. And surprisingly enough, they actually worked properly. So they were gluten-free ones as well, and I thought choux pastry is supposed to be quite difficult as it is. And then I'm going to try and make it gluten-free for the first time. But I was actually really, really impressed with how they came out. I mean, it's a faff. I think I was at it for the best part of, I think, 2.5 hours. So I'm not sure it's worth it when you can just go to the shops and buy them, especially if you're not gluten-free. They're easy to buy. I mean, even gluten-free, I think I can get them in Tesco and a couple other supermarkets. So, I mean, it was a nice experience, and it was quite fulfilling knowing that I was able to make them and that they worked out. But I don't feel the need to make them anytime soon again. So I'm just going to add all of the chocolate into the bowl. And for the chocolate, I just used two strips of this. So what's that? Maybe about 40 grams, something like that. But obviously you can put in as much or as little chocolate as you like. I'll show you how this is looking now. So that's the chunks of chocolate. So they're all different sizes obviously, but I like to keep them quite chunky because then obviously you get that nice big chunk of melted chocolate. And then we'll just mix this through. And then it's going to go in our loaf tin. Turn this up a wee bit and then I can show you it going in the loaf tin, and it just smells amazing. See the banana and chocolate smell? Oh, it's just so good. Now I hope I'm not too loud. I'm in my baking cupboard, which is an absolute disaster. Baking and Tupperware, the two most unorganised things. So I'm just going to grab, I'm not one for lining if I make a cake or whatever, I hate lining it with paper, with greaseproof paper. I just find it really awkward, and then I find that you can never, like when you take the loaf out at the end, it's always a bit of a strange shape because there'll be a bit of the paper that's been crumpled up. So what I just do is I get a bit of kitchen roll and just get a little bit of the spread and just kind of line it like that rather. And most of the time I find that it comes out from that no bother at all. And have you thought, Johnny Scottish, about what you're going to take with you to your picnic? Have you to provide any of the stuff, or are you able just to go and enjoy it? Now you have to go and get in the kitchen soon and come up with something nice. Just going to pop all of this. I mean, I've got quite a small loaf tin for this one. I mean, you could double up the recipe and make a huge one. But my other loaf tin is quite large, which works fine, but it just means that you end up with quite a thin loaf. Right, so get all of that in there. Oh, I'm really looking forward to this now. It was quite spontaneous. I just decided just before I came on that I was going to do this as well, but I'm looking forward to it now. Yeah, I'm not allowed to say what we take other. I know exactly how you feel. I'm exactly the same. I'd much rather have far too much and have to take stuff home than have far too little and still be hungry. So yeah, that seems fair enough. Although there's nothing better than a good picnic where you've got loads of stuff, loads of different bits and pieces. get the picnic basket out. That's a good time. Right, so that's our banana loaf there. So, that's better. So bright. So I'm going to pop this in our preheated oven for about half an hour. Normally half an hour is fine, but after half an hour you can have a wee look, and my oven is slightly unbalanced. So normally after half an hour I'll take it out and turn it round for another maybe just 5 minutes, and that'll be it. I'm going to pop that in now. For half an hour, and then I'm going to have a quick look at our rice. Where's my spoon gone? I've used both of them for that. Give this a quick wash. I can't remember the last time I went on a picnic. No, that's a lie actually. We went up to the East Coast. We went to, what's it called? King's Barnes. So we went off to King's Barnes thinking that'd be a nice place for a picnic because the beach there is lovely. But we were quite late by the time we set off, so I think we got there maybe about 1 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. And it was so busy already. So I'd packed this nice little picnic basket with all the different bits and pieces. Really looking forward to it. I'd made some cheesy muffins. I'd made loads of stuff to take with us. Got there and it was absolutely mobbed. So we went for a quick walk and ended up back at my mum and dad's caravan because we thought this isn't nice. So that was the last picnic I had, so it wasn't really much of a picnic. Yeah, I think you do need to be really, really early because they were actually stopping people. So obviously there's a little car park and you were getting just into the town and they were telling people just to turn around and go somewhere else because it was just so busy. Which is a shame because, I mean, it's good because you think, well, at least people are able to get out and into the sort of the countryside, but quite frustrating when you think it's the first time I've been out since probably March and I just wanted to go out and enjoy and get on the beach, but we'll try another time. I'm sure it'll be better another day if we get any nice weather again. I'm not sure if that's summer over for us or what the deal is. Right, I'm going to tidy up a little bit and then we can start looking at the filling for the sushi sandwich. And again, if you're making the sushi sandwich, you can pretty much fill it with whatever you like. I'm sure there'll be Japanese traditional things to put in it. But I think, again, as with sushi, you can kind of chop and change depending on what you've got and what you fancy. We really don't get summer ever. I know. I think I was becoming a bit more positive about it the last couple of years. I feel like we maybe had a good week or two in a chunk where it was better. But the last wee while has just been horrific. I mean, this summer was just, I think we had some nice weather in May. It was May, I think, wasn't it? And apart from that, it's been rotten. Okay. So this, I really should have timed this, but I didn't. Oh well. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, DJMC. Much appreciated. Happy Sunday to you. Hope you're well. But yeah, I think I get most frustrated when you see all the news reports about England and they say, oh, we're having it's a heat wave, another heat wave, it's 30 to 40 degrees and oh, it's so nice, and then you get everybody complaining, and then up here we're like, nope, still spring, I think. Oh, yeah, yeah, I think you definitely do have to turn off the TV at that point. And I think that's it. I think a lot of the time they make it sound as though it's the whole of the UK, so you do get a little bit excited, and then nothing actually ever comes of it. You hear, oh, UK heatwave, this UK heatwave, and then we see none of it. And I think that's possibly why we miss our holidays so much as well, especially this year. You don't expect to get summer here, so you think, well, it's okay because I've got, say, 2 weeks booked somewhere else. I'll be able to enjoy the sun then. No, not this year. I think our sushi rice might actually be almost done. It's still a wee bit hard. But it is starting to soak up all the water, so I'll need to keep an eye on it. Right, I'm going to grab my tofu. And excuse that noise in the background, it's the coffee machine going off. Right, so we want our tofu. We've got some spring onions. I've actually just found some radishes, so I'm going to put them in. And some cucumber and a carrot. Oh, why is that going up again? Oh, I think I just saved that from burning. Not quite sure why my hob went right up again. Hold on. Right, I think. Excuse all the beeping. Right, I think that's okay now. Definitely need to keep an eye on that, because that could burn very quickly. Yeah, so I'm just going to, so I've got all of these bits and pieces. Put the other camera on, you can watch me chop it. So I've got cucumber, spring onion, a couple of radishes, and a huge carrot. So we'll chop those up into little pieces to put through the sushi sandwich. I've got my avocado here as well, and I've hidden the tofu. There it is. And then we're going to do our tofu in a little bit of batter, just to get that kind of, I quite like the kind of the crispy bit that you get in sushi sometimes, or in these little sandwiches. I used to put, actually, it sounds terrible, and it's probably murdering the Japanese cuisine, but I used to put chicken nuggets in this. So I would just buy just gluten-free chicken nuggets. I mean, obviously you could use regular ones, and just do a layer of chicken nuggets in the middle. And it sounds ridiculous, but it's really, really nice. So if you want a really quick way of doing it, just stick some chicken nuggets. If I told that to any Japanese people, I'm sure they would, I don't think they would be too happy, but because I can't imagine it's particularly traditional or authentic, but I really like it. So I suppose that's probably roughly what I'm going for with the breaded tofu. Chicken nuggets, yeah, chicken nuggets. It sounds terrible, but it works, because you just want that little crunch in it, just to kind of vary the textures a little bit. Yeah, but we'll keep that between us. Right, so I'm just going to chop up our veg, and then I can stick that to one side while we do the tofu. And then really with the veg, you can chop it up however you like. I'm just going to do quite sort of thin strips. probably move this over and you can actually see what I'm doing. And I'll try and not cut myself while I'm doing it. Yeah, so just sort of thin strips like that. I'm just going to check, Johnny Scottish, have you checked the weather for the borders before you go for a picnic? Because I don't know how it is where you are, but it is absolutely chucking it down here. Hopefully the borders will be nicer, but it's not looking good at the moment here. Which I think on a Sunday, I don't mind it as much. I feel like Sundays are kind of cozy. It's a kind of, yeah, you're okay with being stuck in the house almost, unless obviously you've got plans. But I find that I quite like a wee cozy Sunday with a cup of tea, snuggled up, watching some Sunday telly. Well, watching Sunday telly or watching Twitch, which is another good option. No lol, oh dear. Don't want to depress ourselves. Worst case, pub meal. Yeah, no, that's fair enough actually, and there's nothing wrong with a good pub meal. So, it could be worse. And then that's it. If you get a nice picnic with you, you could have that for your lunch tomorrow. Or for your dinner. We used to do that when we were little, obviously because the weather here is so rubbish. We really enjoyed a picnic, and sometimes we would just have a picnic in the living room. So we would just get the picnic blanket out and get a picnic basket all ready, put the blanket down in the living room and just pretend you were outside. That's how desperate we Scottish people get to get some nice sort of a bit of summer feeling. It was good fun. And it meant then that you got your picnic. You didn't feel left out. Plus, you could have your picnic plus watch the telly at the same time. So, I can think of worse ways to spend your day. As long as it's fun, exactly. To be fair, I don't think I've done that since I was maybe about 10. But at the time, I thought it was great. Right, so I've chopped up, or I can sit them in my wee bowl. I've chopped up some cucumber, some radish. I'm just going to do some spring onion. Right, I think this must be about ready now. I'm going to put this off. I don't want to. Always a plan B. Exactly, that's it. You need plan Bs. Need to go down, unfortunately. Oh, no worries. I hope you enjoy your picnic. I hope you're able to have your picnic. I hope the weather's nice for you. Thanks very much for joining us this morning, and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Have a good Sunday. Right, this looks, I would say that looks pretty good now. Yeah, no, I think that's, thanks very much. I'll hopefully see you soon. Enjoy. Right, so I'm just going to leave that to sit. It says, okay, it says to leave on with a lid on for 10 minutes. I feel like I've murdered this rice, but it tastes okay. Okay, so rice is sorted. And then we're just going to do the rest of our fillings for the sushi sandwich. So, I'm just going to finely chop up, although these are the smallest spring onions I think I've ever seen. I mean, look at that. Is that not, that's not normal, is it? But, it means less chopping, so that should be fine. And then because these are we get our veg delivered from farms round about the area, but it means you get some really random veg, which I really like because that's the kind of veg you want. So we've got these tiny little spring onions and then this beast, and that was all in the one bundle. It's a bit mad, but I quite enjoy getting some unusual veg. Oh. Yep, so I feel like this is going to be an ideal lunch for today. As I was saying earlier, I really enjoy sushi. It's one thing that I'm fairly new to in the grand scheme of things. I've probably only started eating it maybe... I'm trying to think if I actually ate it before I was gluten-free. I think I must have done. So I must be eating it maybe 5 or 6 years. But before that, I was very much sort of, I don't know how I feel about raw fish until I tried it. And I'm a huge convert now. I absolutely love the stuff. And I quite often make my own sushi. I do enjoy making my own sushi, but sometimes I feel like it can be a bit of a faff. And I can eat a lot of sushi. I find that it's one of these things you can just keep going back to and eating more and more of. So by the time I've made enough sushi that I'm happy with like my portion size, I'm there for a good couple hours. But I feel like with this one, obviously if you're doing it at like a normal pace and actually focusing on it, not chatting away, you can get it done a lot quicker. Because you're just making all the bits and then popping it together and rolling it up in your seaweed. So it just seems like a much quicker way of making sushi. Another way that I really like sushi is just a sushi bowl. So you don't actually have to wrap or roll anything at all. You literally just make all the ingredients, put your rice in the bottom, do your tofu or whatever else you're doing, lay it on the top, a little bit of the seaweed just chopped up in like kind of strips, pop that on the top, and a bit of soy sauce or a bit of spicy mayo, and that's you. So it's such an easy way of doing it, but it means you still get that sushi kind of experience. And I think possibly one of my favourite parts of sushi is the pickled ginger. I might even actually try and make some of that myself. I've never made it myself, I've just bought it before. That might be quite an interesting one to try and make, because I absolutely love that stuff. And I find that a lot of the ones that you buy, they contain sweeteners, and sweeteners is one thing that I'm not good with my IBS. So I do try and just stay away from them completely. But it means then that there's very little. I don't think I've actually found one that I can eat now. So that might be a shout. I might try and make some myself and see how we go. I don't know how easy it would be. I've never actually looked into it. And I'm not quite sure what they pickle the ginger in. If it's just like a kind of standard vinegar, maybe it's rice vinegar. I'm not sure. I'd need to look at that. Right, so I'm gonna chop up this beast of a spring onion, and then all we need to do after that is our avocado. I feel like the avocado, oh, how's that? Hold on, I'll move you towards me actually, because is that a bit better? That looks a bit better. Yeah, I feel like this avocado could be a bit hit or miss. I got it yesterday and I was quite excited because it was reduced. That's really sad. But I thought, oh, ideal. Nice big avocado for about half the price. But I think it's either going to be fairly solid or not usable. So there's always that thing with avocados. You have to kind of wait and see once you open it up. Much better. Good. Hopefully you can see everything now. So I'm just gonna chop this into kind of strips, which we can then fill the wee sandwich with. Plus I've made a bit extra rice, and I've just kind of chopped up probably too much veg, but it means then that I can do, if I've got rice left over, I can do a little sushi bowl over the next couple of days. It is a spring onion. It looks ridiculous. That's what I was saying. I'm not quite sure why there's such a huge difference between some of the spring onions. Some of them were absolutely tiny, and then this one was massive. I mean, it definitely looks different to an onion. Like, it looks a lot whiter, so I'm pretty sure it is just a spring onion. Like, it's not like a little onion that's snuck in. But it's huge. But that's what I really enjoy about getting like farm veg instead of, I don't buy a lot of veg at the supermarket because we get the little box delivered. So it just means that you get some quite interesting veg, obviously, because the supermarkets have all these rules about what veg they can take and what they'll, if there's any sort of, what are they called? What's the word? If they're like misshapen, they're not going to take them. Whereas the farms, if you buy them straight from the farm, then you can just buy whatever they've got. And I really enjoy that because sometimes you get some really odd veg. I mean, that carrot is massive. Absolutely huge. But I suppose it's about like 2 carrots, so I'll get a lot of use out of that. I'm going to give it a quick wash and peel. I'm going to have a quick look at the banana loaf looks amazing. So it's only got 10 minutes left. And then I'll take it out and just turn it quickly, just so that it can get an even brown, because my oven does tend to cook slightly unevenly. And you want a nice all-round colour. And again, I'm just going to chop the carrot into kind of strips. So do you get it straight from the farm? Do they have a shop? They do have a shop, so you can actually go and buy it straight from them. And obviously then you can pick what you want. But how we do it is we get a box delivered. So every Friday, we just pay for like a large veg box. And depending on what they're growing and what's sort of in season and what they've got lots of, that's what you get in the box. So you get, I think we get, is it 8 different kinds of veg, I think? So you know that you'll get 8 different kinds of veg, but you've got no idea what veg you get, which I quite enjoy because it means then it's a bit of a surprise, and it means that quite often I'll get veg that I maybe wouldn't have bought myself at the supermarket because I won't know what to do with it, or I won't have ever cooked with it before. So it makes me a bit more adventurous with what I'm cooking, which I really enjoy, and I think it helps me to kind of widen my repertoire. Oh, you can tell it's Sunday. Definitely not fully awake yet. But yeah, I really, really like it. And it means then as well, if they've got a load of stuff that they've not been able to sell in the shop, that instead of it just going in the bin, if no one else is going to buy it, they can put it in the boxes, and then it's still getting used just by other people. So I really enjoy it. I think it's good fun. Although sometimes the problem is you end up every week, you'll end up getting the same sort of potatoes and carrots, and you can get a bit bored of them. But normally you get some interesting things, so you kind of spruce stuff up a bit. My tea is stone cold. I should have drank that earlier. Okay, I'm going to put a couple of these out the road to tidy up a bit. It sounds fantastic. Always a surprise, yes. Which I enjoy. And then it's almost like every Friday when you're getting it, you think, oh, how exciting, the veg box is coming, I wonder what I'm getting. And then depending on what we've got, I just sort of plan our meals around that. Trying not to stand on a wet cat. The heavens have opened and the cats have decided they don't want to be outside anymore. You can never have enough potatoes or carrots though. That's true. Although, I mean, potatoes I could eat all day every day, happily. Carrots, I really like carrots raw. I'm not a big fan of cooked carrots. I'm not quite sure if it's the, again, if it's the texture, if they're too soft. I like the crunch of carrots, but I'm not a big fan of them cooked. But I suppose there's lots of things you can do with raw carrots, so you could heat up your cuppa with the with the microwave in the cupboard. I could go back into my cupboard and stick the cuppa in there. I might do that actually in a minute. That's funny, I never actually realised that that's probably how that looks. That I'm just heading off into the cupboard to use the microwave. Okay, so I think, I'm trying to remember, right, I'm going to show you how these sandwiches should look. So, hold on, I've brought up some pictures before. Is this going to work? Hold on. No, wrong one. Hang on. Just in case you've not seen what these sushi sandwiches look like, I can show you a picture. Plus it'll help me think how much tofu I actually have to do. There we go. So that's what our sushi sandwich should look like once we're finished. It looks like a Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah, to be fair, at the moment, inside it does look a bit like that as well. It's a bit of a mess. So that's why I'm not going to show you it, but you'll just have to trust me that that's where I'm going. So yeah, so this is our sushi sandwich. So that's what it's hopefully, roughly going to look like once we're finished. I might do mine slightly smaller because the what are they called, the seaweed sheets that I've got, the nori sheets, are quite small. So I am gonna, oh, that one. So it'll be a bit smaller than that, but not too much. So I think the 2 pieces of tofu will be enough. And I didn't press this one just because it has already been pressed. I might actually now just take a little bit of the water out, just kind of very gently press down on, just to get a bit of the water out, because then we'll get it a bit more crispy. Looks amazing, getting hungry now, I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, I really, really enjoy. I can't even remember, I'm sure I first saw this on TV somewhere. It was probably like Saturday Kitchen or something like that, where or was it Rick Stein? I think it might have been, where he made these. And I thought, God, that's such a good idea. Because sometimes that's what you kind of miss with sushi, that there's so many little pieces to it, that sometimes you just want a bit, like a big chunk of sushi. And I suppose you get those, it's like a kind of sushi burrito. I think that's probably what it would be like. And they look quite good because you get a bit more to it, instead of having, like, maybe you need to eat 6 or 8 bits of sushi, and then, but this sandwich is just, it surpasses the burrito completely. Must have been YouTube. It probably was YouTube, to be fair. It was a while ago, and it's been a while since I've made it, but really, really good. So we're gonna do a little kind of crunchy batter for these. So I'm gonna get my cornflakes out, and again, I've got gluten-free cornflakes, but you can use just regular ones. Oh, the whole kitchen smells of banana loaf. That's where I always steal the food inspiration. Yeah, but it's between there and Instagram. There's so much good food on Instagram, but my problem is I could spend hours scrolling through and just making myself so hungry. But I'm so hungry that I can't be bothered then actually making myself anything. And then I'll go in and I'll be like, right, well, I'll just have like beans on toast or something. But then that just makes me sad because I think, oh, they've had something absolutely amazing and I'm sitting with beans on toast. Although, to be fair, I do really enjoy beans on toast. Right, so I've just got a little bowl of cornflakes. So that's maybe 2 handfuls, because you're not going to need a huge amount because we're just going to coat these. So I'm hoping this isn't going to be too loud, but I'm going to now crunch these up just into smaller pieces. Instagram is good too. Yeah, Instagram is good. Another place that's really good is Pinterest. I don't use it as much as Instagram, but I do find it's really good, and it's good if you want to actually get the recipes. So if you see something that you like the look of, quite often you'll be able to click on the recipe straight away, because I find that's quite annoying with Instagram, that if you see a nice picture, you can't actually put the link on it. So you can't just see the picture and then go, oh, I want to cook that, click on the link and get to the recipe. You have to go like to the person's bio and find it that way. But with Pinterest, the recipe is, oh, I don't know if you saw that. I just flicked cornflakes all over the place. Anyway, yeah, what was I saying? And with Pinterest, you can click on the recipe immediately. You can see it. So it just makes it a lot easier. Oh, our loaf shredded. I'm going to show you it now, I think. In fact, I'm going to turn it around, give it a couple of minutes. I think 3 minutes will do it, and then I can show you how it looks. I was getting a bit too confident with squishing the cornflakes, and I'm not quite sure I managed to squish them, but instead of them going back into the bowl, they went up in the air, as you do. So I'll be finding cornflakes in the kitchen for days, I think. So yeah, you just want to keep kind of crushing these until you get almost like kind of thick breadcrumbs. Obviously, the smaller you can get the cornflakes, the easier they'll stick to the tofu. Pure skill, exactly. And I find I have a lot of that in the kitchen. There's a lot of things that I manage in the kitchen that I actually physically don't know how I've done it. I'm really good at making a mess, and I would say that is a skill. I'm going to take it as a skill anyway, because I think you need to look at the positives. You need to look at things positively, so that is definitely a skill that I have. And I'm gonna stick by that. So you can see, hopefully you can see there, they're starting to get a bit smaller. So I'm gonna do a little bit more, just to make sure it's quite fine. Obviously, if you wanted, you could keep them a little bit bigger, and they'd possibly be slightly crunchier, but I find that if you crunch them up as much as you can, you'll get more of an even coating around the tofu. I agree, always look at the bright side of things. Exactly. That's it. I'm sure there aren't many people that could have been crunching their cornflakes and throwing them up in the air. So that's that. That's a special skill. Right. I think that is about good enough, I would say. And then we're just going to make a really simple kind of batter with some, I'm going to use some flour, some water, a little bit of garlic powder and some paprika. Again, you can kind of vary it up a bit. You could put some herbs in, or you could just put some salt and pepper, or you don't have to put anything in at all, but I find that combination is quite nice. How's the loaf looking? It's nearly done. It looks amazing, but I've just turned it round so that there's one side of it that wasn't quite as golden brown as the other. So I've just turned it round so that it's going to have like a nice even, oh, speak of the devil. So it should hopefully be nice and brown the whole way down. Oh, that looks so good. I can turn that off now. Right, are we ready? Are we ready for this? And this is my absolute favourite. It's so good and so easy. Look at that. Is that not perfect? Hold on, I'll see if I can get it to. The light is hitting it, but hopefully you can, there we go, that's better. I mean, how good does that look? And you can see the big chunks of chocolate, so they'll be really nice. all melted like that. I kind of want to have a bit just now. I'm going to wait until it cools slightly. It looks fantastic. It does look good, doesn't it? I'm not going to lie. I'm quite pleased with that. So that'll be my afternoon tea for later on. So I'm going to put it over to the side and just let it cool down slightly. Just in the tin for a bit. Need them now. Right, so we have got our, back to where it was. Thank you very much. As I said, that's a recipe that I make a lot. It's very much one of my staple recipes, and it does always work. So I'll pop the recipe on the chat. Actually, I could do that just now really quickly, because I don't think, as I said, still quite new to this, so there's still a few things I need to set up, like putting the recipes in, but we're getting there. And hopefully, if I do this, oh, clicked the wrong button. I'll just get the recipe up quickly and I can show you. And again, I've made it gluten-free and vegan, but you can just chop and change some of the recipes. So if you're not gluten-free, you can use regular flour. If you don't have self-raising flour, you can use plain flour and a teaspoon of baking powder. If you're not vegan, you can use regular butter. So it is quite flexible. There we go. That's the recipe there. So if you want a wee nosy at the recipe and some more pictures, you'll be able to see it all there. And then obviously you can see the rest of my blog if there are any other recipes you fancy making. Oh, hello Admiral Slam. Good morning, still here. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Good way to use bananas that have started to come over right before they go bad, definitely. And that is what I tend to do with them. I like the idea of bananas and then I buy them and I forget to use them. And more often than not, I'll buy them and they'll go bad. Or well, not quite bad, but overripe. So then the best thing to do with it is to make a banana loaf. And that's what you want. You want them like almost bad. And that makes a good banana loaf. So I'm pleased with how that's turned out. So if you do fancy having a look at the full recipe, there's the link there. We've got our cornflakes. I'm going to grab another bowl and just we'll put together our little what's it called, batter for the tofu. I've just realised I should probably do something with the rice. It's definitely nice and sticky now. What if I move you? That's the only problem with sushi rice, it sticks everywhere. Is that going to be... Oh, the lighting is going mad. I like to add walnuts and raisins to banana bread. That's what we were saying earlier. I know of a few people that have made this and they've put walnuts in it. I'm not a big fan of the texture of walnuts in like a cake. I cannot get this light to work properly at all. Is that better? Yeah, so I like the idea of it, but I think when I have like a cake or a loaf or something, I quite like it to be soft. But I can imagine, rum soaked raisins or currants. That could take it to another level. That's other level stuff that I've not tried that either. I've not actually tried. I don't think I've really tried any sort of baking recipes with rum soaked raisins. Normally I'm not a big fan of raisins. I really like chocolate covered raisins. But apart from that, where's my towel gone? Oh, there it is. But apart from that, I normally wouldn't, but actually that might be quite interesting with this. Maybe that's one I'll need to try. I'll need to kind of branch out slightly and add some walnuts and some rum soaked raisins, because that could be quite tasty. And that's it. It's a good kind of it's a good like base recipe that you can just add different things, or you could take out the chocolate if you didn't want the chocolate and add different things instead. So it's naughty in a good way, yeah. It does indeed. Rum soaked raisins. Oh, yum. I kind of see Admiral Slam. You should have been here earlier, and if you had been, I would have tried that. I'd need to check if I had rum, but next time I'll give it a bash and see how I get on. Right, so I'm gonna make, while this is ready, because obviously this will need to cool, but it is nice and sticky. So I'm gonna do the sushi seasoning, and I need some rice vinegar, sugar and salt. If you have dried cherries or cranberries, rum soaking is good to soften them too. See, that's funny because I think I would have probably just put the dried fruit in as it was. I wouldn't have thought to soak it in rum. I wonder if, what did I make? Oh, it was a Christmas cake. So I made a Christmas cake and I soaked all of the dried fruit in Cointreau, which I think, is it kind of orangey flavoured? I think. And I think it turned out really, really nice. I think it maybe that wee kind of orangey hint was lovely. I don't obviously know how well that would work with orange liqueur, yeah. I can't imagine how that would be in a banana loaf, but I remember thinking, God, that works really well in a Christmas cake. But actually since then I've not thought to soak dried fruit in liquor at all. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to try that out. Rum soaked raisins. I should write that down actually. I'll remember that for the next time. Okay, I'm gonna grab my rice vinegar, and then I think we need sugar and salt to make our sushi seasoning, just to give it a bit more flavour, because obviously at the moment it doesn't taste of anything because it's just been cooked in water. I'll get a little bowl. I took a note, we'll definitely try this out. You'll need to let us know how you got on, JC Pink, because that sounds pretty good. Apple brandy, French Calvados or German apple schnapps. Works for soaking dried fruit. Ooh, I hadn't thought about that. That sounds really nice as well, because I do love apple. Calvados. Is Calvados apple brandy? I hadn't realised that. I don't think I've ever drank it, but I hadn't realised it was apple. Okay, so for this it says tablespoons, not teaspoons. I can't stand German schnapps anymore. I had a bit too much at some point. Yeah. I think the only sort of German liqueur I've had too much of is Jägermeister. And it's not good to start with, but it's one that I cannot drink anymore. Yes, Calvados is apple brandy. I didn't know that. What is it you do, Admiral Slam? It sounds like you're a bit of a connoisseur in this area. I feel like this could be quite helpful with some of my baking. Okay, 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. And again, I made slightly less rice than it said on the packet, just because I didn't have all that much left. So I don't know, so what's the other ingredients? Let me see. 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt. I think I'll probably just make it up the way it says and maybe just not put a little bit in. So we want 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Wow, that is strong. And then 2 tablespoons of sugar. Wow, all you can smell now in here is vinegar. I mean, I like vinegar, but that's a bit much. And then we've got 1 tablespoon of sugar. I've been cooking for a long time, more than 40 years. Wow. I've also travelled through France and much of Europe to sample foods and learn to cook. I mean, that's the dream, really, isn't it? That sounds amazing. So what would you say your favourite cuisine is? Like, from which country would you say your favourite cuisine is? I definitely don't feel like I've travelled enough food-wise. I think because I've always been a big fan of food, but I've only really properly got into food and cooking and stuff maybe in the last, what would that be, maybe 5 or 6 years. But I absolutely love it now, so I think I would be really interested to kind of travel a bit more and to see some sort of different places and different ways of cooking. I think I always feel slightly nervous as well about traveling for food, because I am gluten-free and I've got a few different intolerances. I always kind of think, oh, how is it going to be with like language barriers, and am I going to be okay, or am I going to sort of make mistakes and end up eating stuff that I shouldn't be eating? So I think there's that thought in the back of my head all the time, but again, you don't really want that to stop you from experiencing these things. I think it's probably a case of I would just need to do some research and sort of know what I'm asking for and know what I'm looking for. And I know that if you've got intolerances and you're traveling anywhere, you can actually buy little cards that say, so say you're gluten intolerant and dairy intolerant, or you've got an allergy, they'll give you different phrases to say in the language of the country that you're going that says, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. You can buy like a little list of it all translated, so that if you go to a restaurant, you could just give it to the chef and say, look, this is what I can't eat, can you make me something? And I think that's really, really helpful, and that would definitely make you feel a bit more secure. But I think it's one of these things, I think I just need to kind of get on with it and get out there and try some new things. Sounds amazing. That does sound amazing. I generally like the food that's been served to me fresh and with care whenever I'm at. Yeah, that's it. And I think that's what I quite like about like seafood. If you go somewhere that's right at the sea, or if you can almost see that it's literally just been caught and prepared and then you eat it, there's nothing better than that. Oh, I make myself really hungry now. Right, so the sushi rice has now been seasoned. I've put in most of the seasoning, but it does smell quite strong, so I think that'll be enough of that. Okay, and then we want to cool the rice at room temperature. So I'm gonna put it onto a tray probably, just to kind of level it out, and then it'll hopefully cool a bit quicker. And then I can pop it in. Oh, it says room temperature. Right, I'll leave it at room temperature. I won't put it in the fridge. Might be good to connect with local food bloggers and ask for advice. Yeah, that's a really good idea actually. And I think as well that if you connect with local food bloggers, they're going to know the best places to go depending on what intolerances and stuff you've got. Oh yeah, I just really fancy traveling again. And what would you say, Admiral Slam, is one of your favourite things to cook? Do you have like sort of favourite dishes to cook, or anything that you would recommend trying to cook that's maybe slightly unusual? Hot. It's not too bad. So I'm just gonna pop the rice out and we'll kind of flatten it out just to give it the best chance to cool down quite quickly. And this is a bit where I'm going to get in a complete mess because the rice is so sticky. Try and use a spoon as much as possible. Normally I would just use my hands, but it's so messy. That looks quite good already. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's not going to be 100% authentic, but I'm happy with that. And then once we leave this to cool, it says just to cool to room temperature, so it doesn't need to be too cold. Right, I think that'll do. I don't want to press it too much because it says you should try and avoid breaking the grains. So we don't want to play with it too much. So I think that'll be okay. And I'm just going to pop that to the side and let it cool down. Right, where was I? Need to tidy up again. I've got stuff everywhere. Right, bear with me a wee second. Rid of my cornflakes. Need that now. See, that's the one thing about loving cooking. I love cooking. I absolutely hate doing dishes. But when you cook, you don't really have much choice, unfortunately. I'm using pressure cookers. Oh, for more than 20 years. I like reinventing recipes to optimize them for pressure cooking. Oh my god, loaded mashed potatoes in 8 minutes. That sounds amazing. I've actually never ever used a pressure cooker. I'm not gonna lie, it sounds quite daunting. Probably just because I've never used it before, so I don't really know. I mean, obviously I would need to follow recipes and stuff just to make sure I'm doing it properly. But I do quite fancy trying it. So is that what you would say you sort of specialise in, or is that just your favourite way to cook? I mean, the thing is, if you're getting really nice mashed potatoes in less than 8 minutes, I would say that's that's a good reason to enjoy pressure cookers just for that. I always watch, I think the only time I've really seen pressure cookers being used is you see them doing it on like MasterChef and stuff. But I think the only thing I've really seen people cooking in pressure cookers is like kind of stews and stuff. Is that right? Is that the kind of thing you would do in a pressure cooker? It's a fun way to cook, a self-challenge. You can make all forms of white rice in 6 minutes or less. That might be something I'll need to look into because I do enjoy quick cooking. I suppose there's that kind of risk that once you've put it in, I don't think you can open it, can you? You're supposed to leave it kind of closed until it's done. So there's maybe that kind of unknown of you need to know when it's ready before you open it up or put it off. I would definitely like to give it a try though. I'd need to properly look into it, but I think that if it speeds up what you're cooking by that much, that would definitely be worth it. Because I made brown rice 2 nights ago, and I used my Thermomix. I don't know if you hold on. I can show you a bit better in here. You still can't really see it, but it's like one of these all-in-one food processors. And it is really good for different things, but I made rice in it 2 nights ago and it was brown rice, but it took, I think it took about 35 minutes. So it's supposed to speed things up as well, and it's quite good because you can just throw it in there and you don't have to worry about it. But it took 35 minutes and it still wasn't cooked. It was still quite kind of crunchy. And I just thought, this is just... And everything else I'd made, so I'd made like a mushroom stroganoff to go with it. And the mushroom stroganoff had been ready for about 20 minutes. Everything else was ready. And I'm waiting on this rice. So even just for the rice, oh, that's right, you need to get your timing right because you can't open it well under pressure. So does that mean then, if you put with brown rice, oh, risotto, I love risotto. So does that mean then that if you put something in and you let it cook, and if you open it up too early, have you ruined it, or is there a way that you can fix it? Can you put the lid back on and keep going, or how does that work? Oh, and thank you very much for the follow. Much appreciated. It's lovely to have you here. Right, I'm going to grab my bits for the batter. So we're just going to use a mixture of plain flour, some paprika, I'm going to put in some garlic granules and some water. Again, this is very much one that I've just kind of come up with. I really enjoy it. It's not going to be the most authentic, but it tastes nice. Modern pressure cookers, I just say. Ah, right, okay. So they've got safety features to stop them opening well under pressure. I suppose, of course, because that could be quite dangerous. I hadn't thought about that actually. So you just need to make sure you get your timings right. It does its business, and then once it's done, you have to hope that everything's cooked the way you want it to be. So does that mean that you end up doing quite a lot of sort of trial and error? I suppose if you've been doing it for a long time now, you'll kind of know roughly the timings and things. But does that mean that you probably have to try out a recipe a few times before you get it 100% right? It's dangerous to open a pressure cooker that's under pressure, of course. I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, that would be dangerous. You don't want that. Right, so I'm just going to put together this little batter. So I've got about 1.5 tablespoons of plain flour. Their timing charts. Ah, yeah, that would be helpful because I feel like that, especially if you're just starting with a pressure cooker, it'd be quite difficult to kind of know where to begin. But experience helps to adjust. Yeah, of course. That's it. Once you kind of know what you're doing with something, it's a lot easier. That's where I want to be with baking. I would say I'm quite a new baker. I much prefer cooking, mainly because I think I prefer eating savoury things. But I think it would be nice to be able to sort of bake the way that I cook, whereas you've just got a kind of a feel for how much of things that you need, and you don't have to 100% follow recipes. Oh, that smells really good already. Right, so I don't know if you can see the light. So that's just a mixture of plain flour, about 1.5 tablespoons of plain flour, a teaspoon of garlic granules, and about a teaspoon, say 2 teaspoons of paprika. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of water, a little bit at a time, until it starts to come together and form like a bit of a paste. And then we're going to use that to coat the tofu, and then we can dunk it in the cornflakes and get the nice crispy, the nice crispy coating. Right, so I'm just going to add it a little bit at a time, and then it makes quite a nice sort of almost pinky colour, and then it'll go kind of orangey. And now you don't want it too thin. I've made this mistake a few times, that if you make it too sort of runny, then it'll run off the tofu and you won't be able to get your cornflakes to stick to it. So you want to get it to kind of a paste, and then just a little bit more water to make it a bit more liquidy, and then that should be perfect. It smells so good already, mainly just because of the garlic granules. There's been a big surge in the popularity of pressure cookers due to the invention of course, the Instant Pot in the last 10 years or so. Multiple modes with cooking times programmed. So that would make things a lot easier for people who are wanting to try it out. I was forgetting that the Instant Pot was a pressure cooker, because I've got a crock pot, which is just a slow cooker. I do enjoy using that as well though, but obviously that's probably pretty much the opposite to a pressure cooker. But yeah, you see the Instant Pot everywhere at the moment. I think especially in America, I think it seems to be quite big over there, but it's definitely getting a lot bigger over here. And I think a lot of people are keen to cook a bit more for themselves, but if you're not used to cooking, it can be quite tricky. And if you've got something like that, some kind of sort of machine that is going to help you with it, then you're probably more likely to cook for yourself. I find that with the Thermomix. I don't know if you've seen the Thermomix Admiral Slam. It started in Germany, I think, but it's basically like an all-in-one food processor, so it can basically do pretty much anything you want it to, apart from pressure cooker. It doesn't do that, I don't think. And I find it really good because it means that, I mean, obviously it's different for me because I enjoy cooking, but I think that it'll help a lot of people who maybe want to cook for themselves but don't know where to start. It's got recipes included and it takes you through the steps, sort of step by step. And I think that's good. I think the more we can do to get people cooking, the better for the stovetop models compared to... Yeah, of course, if you know what you're doing with it, you want the sort of the proper version rather than the user-friendly one. That's really interesting. I'm definitely going to have to try that out. It's just one thing I'd never really looked into that much, but if it can improve your times of cooking like rice and mashed potato and stuff, it's definitely worth a go. Definitely worth. Right, so now we're going to get a little plate out. We're going to top our tofu slices. So I've just got 2 fairly thin slices of tofu, and I'm first just going to dip it in. I'll show you actually the consistency of this. So it's not too runny. There's definitely still a bit of kind of hold to it. Hopefully it'll be thick enough. So that's kind of what you're going for. It's really good that people benefit from anything that makes cooking easier. Yeah. Anything that makes it easier and sort of more convenient and quicker, because that's it. If you're kind of working all day, you don't want to be coming home and then spending hours making your dinner, especially if you don't enjoy cooking, but you still want to be able to sort of eat healthily and enjoy the food. Oh no, my tofu is broken. Right, I think I've sliced this up too thinly because it's kind of falling apart. But you can see that's coated quite nicely now in the batter. And then I'm just going to dip it in. I've just realised all the chefs, they always say have one dry hand and one wet hand. That's not what I've done. Right, and then I'll just coat this one, and then we want to coat them in the breadcrumbs. Does your oven have forced air convection cooking? I have no idea. I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of, but forced air convection. I'm gonna say no, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll need to have a wee look actually. I really don't know. I only tried the pressure cooker for braising beef dishes in the past, and it helped a lot to speed up the cooking process. Oh yeah, braised beef is gorgeous. With a nice gravy and some potatoes, yum. but the old devices were quite scary. Yeah, I think that's how I kind of feel with them, but I think that's it. If you try it then, and you kind of get used to it, then it's not going to be scary anymore. It would have a fan. It does have a fan in the back, so does that mean that is one of them? Oh, of course, cause yeah, it's a fan oven. So obviously I can cook stuff at a slightly lower temperature than a regular oven. So does that mean that's got one then? Oh. Right, I'm just going to coat the tofu in as much of the cornflakes as you can, because you want it to be as crispy as possible. I just need to watch, so I've got a big tear in this one, so I'll just watch what I'm doing with that. So that's our first chunk of tofu, which should be nice and crispy once we fry that off. And then I'll do my second one, and that batter's worked quite nicely. I've done it before where it's been too thin, and it doesn't work properly because the cornflakes just don't stick to it. So you really want to make sure that you get the right consistency for your batter. Yes, if uncirculates a hot air, that's a convection oven. Ah, of course, yeah. So that is the one that we've got, because I always have to, I think it's like 20 degrees, maybe 20 degrees hotter or something, so you always have to cook stuff at 20 degrees lower. And there we've got our second chunk of tofu in the nice crispy batter. So I can get rid of all of this stuff. And wash my hands because they're covered now. So is there something I can do with this then? Is that a benefit of having a forced air convection cooker, or oven rather? Right, I'm gonna now grab, looks nice, thank you very much. It does look quite good, doesn't it? So, I mean, obviously if you didn't want to make like a sushi sandwich like I'm doing just now, you could just make this tofu and serve it with just some rice or some veg, or do it in a stir fry. But I think it's a really nice way of having tofu. It just makes it a bit more interesting, a bit tastier, and I really like the crunch that it gives it. A pressure cooker can tenderize most tough cuts of meat. Wow, in 30 to 60 minutes instead of 2 to 4 hours. God, that's much quicker. So is that down to mainly like the heat of it? Is it so much hotter, or is it just because it's in that environment that there's nothing sort of escaping? I think you've won me over. I'm gonna need to try one. I wonder how expensive they are. I wonder if I could get a cheapish one on Amazon and see how I go. Great. Oh, I love shepherd's pie. Oh yeah, no, that does sound good. I'm gonna need to write a list of all these things that you've suggested and get a pressure cooker and just make my way through them all. Right, so we're now just gonna fry off these little bits of tofu quickly. So I'm just going to use just about maybe about a tablespoon. Yeah, about a tablespoon of oil. I've just used vegetable oil. Some pressure cookers can make yogurt too. Oh, see, that's all sorts of chemistry. That's all sorts of magic. Although actually the Thermomix I've got here as well, it can make yogurt as well. I've never tried it. It'd be quite interesting to try, because I suppose it's like the fermentation process and stuff, isn't it? So that would be interesting. Oh, excuse me, I hope I'm not making you seasick with this camera back and forward. So I'm just going to pop you over here, because then you can see the tofu browning, which I think is really satisfying. So I thought I'd share that with you. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, Sukumi. I hope I've pronounced your name okay. Sukumi. I like that name, that's a good name. I hope you're well on this Sunday, whatever time it is where you are. So I'm just going to put it on not too high a heat. Hopefully. This hob is still slightly temperamental, so it takes a wee bit of work, but you want a kind of medium heat because you want enough heat that you're going to brown off the cornflakes. And then once the tofu is ready, we can then start putting it all together. Just check the rice. The rice is definitely cooler. It's not too bad now. Good morning, Rajutha. Is that how you say your name? Happy Sunday. Right, so there's a bit of heat in this already, so I'm going to just pop the tofu in there and just let it start to fry off. You can hear it sizzle already. Again, you need to kind of watch, just make sure that you don't lose all your cornflakes while you're popping it over to fry. So have you made yogurt in a pressure cooker, Admiral Sam? How does it work? Was it quite good? And how quickly does that work? Is that quite a long process, or? Obviously you'd hope in the pressure cooker it was a bit quicker. So I'm just going to leave that on to cook for a little bit, and so we just want a nice sort of brown colour to it. Obviously you don't want it too burnt, and then we can just, once that's what we think is hopefully golden brown on one side, we can flip it over and get the same colour on the other side. I've made yogurt, takes a bit of stick there. So can you ferment it in the pressure cooker? How does that work? So do you just leave it in the pressure cooker to ferment like that? Because I'm not honestly sure. I've seen that it's possible, but I'm not honestly sure how. I'm not sure how you do it in the Thermomix. Oh, I can smell this. It smells so good. Hours. It still seems quite a long time to ferment yogurt. But I suppose it's a whole kind of process, isn't it? Right, I'm gonna try flipping these. It doesn't seem that hot actually. Although that looks not too bad. Can you see the oh, you can see the colour on that quite well. So that's gone nice and crispy on one side. And then, oh yeah, that looks good. So I'm just going to leave it to do what it's doing on the other side as well. And then once that's done, we can pop that out and we can just start putting everything together. Can you see the colour on that? Looks amazing. It does look pretty good, doesn't it? I really think I think that's one of the reasons I really enjoy using the cornflakes for sort of battering things like that, because you get such a nice colour from it, and obviously you eat with your eyes as well. Pressure cooker doesn't use pressure for the yogurt. It just keeps the temperature. Ah, okay. It's a pasteurization step to kill bad bacteria and then cool down for adding the good bacteria. Ah, I had not realised that a pressure cooker could do that much. So does that mean that in theory you could also make cheese in it? Or is that a whole other process? I've done well with my reduced avocado. I was saying earlier that I got this avocado yesterday, and it was in the reduced section. It was the only one they had left, and I thought it's either going to be completely like horrible inside or not ripe, and that kind of like rubbery way, but it's perfect. So I'm very pleased with that. You can make soft cheeses in them. I think that's going to be my next project, is just going to be getting a pressure cooker and trying it out and trying some different things, because I do enjoy experimenting in the kitchen. I never used to. I think I was always quite kind of worried that if it didn't go right, then you kind of think, oh, that's a bit of a waste. But I'm definitely getting more sort of adventurous in the kitchen, and I do really, really enjoy experimenting a bit. Plus, I think it's nice if you've got a bit of time that you can just sort of play around with things, see how things work. You can also make Greek style yogurt by draining the extra liquid using a cheesecloth. So do you make a lot of your own yogurt and cheeses? Is the process easy enough and quick enough that it's worth it, would you say? Because I had found a recipe for a vegan mozzarella, which uses, I think it's cashew cheese. Not cashew cheese, cashew nuts. And I can't remember, and nutritional yeast, I think, which I thought sounded quite interesting. So I think that's going to be my next project, is I'm going to try and make this vegan mozzarella and see how it tastes. But the thing is, I'm a huge fan of just regular cheese, and I feel that with vegan cheese you just don't get that same taste. Right, I think our tofu, is good. It's roasting. I think you've reached your, have I reached my 4 workout? Oh, that's exciting. Thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who's followed me, who is here. It's much appreciated, and I hope I can bring a bit of a smile and some good food to your Sunday morning. That's quite hot. Congratulations, thank you very much. That is exciting. I can't actually see on my picture's too small. I can't see. I'll need to have a look after. But that's exciting. Right, I'll get rid of this from here now. Pop you back over here, and then we can start putting together our sushi sandwich. When I find milk on sale, I'll buy extra to make yogurt with the excess. That's a good idea. Then you're getting stuff 4 times. 4 times more. Wow. I didn't realise it would be that much. Oh, it's definitely worth making your own then. Especially if you can get the milk and stuff that you need for it on sale. Right, this is going to be the only problem. I was getting really hungry, so am I, and it smells so good. Right, this is going to be the interesting part. It's been so long since I made this the last time. I can't 100% remember how I wrapped it all together, but we're just going to try it and see how we go. I'm sure we'll get there. we're not in a rush, so I can take my time. I'll just get a wee bit of a tidy up as well. I'm gonna do I might do that first actually. I'm gonna do a quick sort of spicy mayo just to put over the top, because I think that always tastes really nice with this, and I do like a bit of a kind of sauce with it. So I think I'm gonna do just a sweet chili mayo. Again, I'm sure that this isn't gonna be your sort of traditional, proper Japanese way of doing things, but it's the way I like it. And until I go and do like a cooking class or something, I would really quite like to do a sushi class. I've seen that that's definitely a thing, and I think that would be quite interesting to do and to kind of learn how to do it properly. So I'm just gonna use, I don't need a huge amount because I'm just gonna kind of drizzle this over the top. So just some mayo, and I've got some sweet chili sauce. It says this is a chili devil sauce, but extra hot, but I don't think it is. And I'm not good with spice at all. I can't handle things that are too spicy. It's not good for my IBS either. My IBS doesn't love spice. And I don't like the taste of it too much. I like a little bit, but I find very quickly with me, the spice kind of takes over the food, and all I can taste is just heat, so I don't enjoy it nearly as much. Probably show you this while I'm doing it, can't I need to figure out this light, and that light is just, there we go. So I've just, excuse me. So that is literally just about a tablespoon of mayo and about 2 teaspoons of the sweet chili sauce. I'll just mix that through until it sort of comes together. There's a couple of wee lumps, but I'll just mix them out. And then again, that's just going to be drizzled. Come on now. Yeah, there or thereabouts. It's just going to be drizzled over the top, just to give it that kind of extra wee, sort of creamy, tiny hint of spice. Right, so now we've done that, we can start putting everything together. I might actually Google it. Is that really bad? I might Google it quickly just to make sure I'm doing it properly. And we've got our rice here, so you can see all that. That looks nice, and I would say it's room temperature. So it's recommended that it should be at room temperature. And I would say that's where we're at the moment. So, give this a quick wipe. So I'm using these sushi nori sheets. They're the ones that I've got are half sheets. I've not been able to get them for a wee while. So I'm just going to go with what I've got. And I've got 3 of them. So basically how you want to do it is it's going to be a bit like a little kind of package maybe. So you just want to kind of package it all together, and then wrap it all up, and then you can cut it in half. So you're going to end up with maybe like a kind of a circle-y shape, like that kind of idea. Fold all the sides in and then chop it in half. It's all about experimenting. Exactly. That's what you want. You want to just experiment in the kitchen a little bit, see what you like, see what you don't like, see what you can manage, all that kind of stuff. Does yogurt help your IBS? To be fair, it's one thing I probably should eat more of. I do eat quite a lot of yogurt, but I think I should probably eat more of like what are they called? It's Activia. I think that's one of the brands here that is like, it's got the good bacteria in it. and obviously things like Yakult and stuff. I think that they say that the bacteria in that is supposed to kind of help. I think it helps give you the good bacteria, and also like what's the word? Can you tell it's Sunday? All of the words have escaped my head this morning. Like neutralize, that's the word, neutralize the bad bacteria if you've got too much of that, obviously with the IBS. So it definitely does, but it's probably something I should eat more of. I think I would probably see more benefits from it if I eat more of it. But I do eat quite a lot of like natural yogurt, and I do find that it's definitely got a kind of like a soothing quality, which is quite nice. So it's, yeah. And the Yakults, I did enjoy the Yakult. That's the little drinks, the kind of milky drinks. They're quite hard to get used to because it's a very specific taste. But I really, really enjoy them, but they're so expensive. And I find that's the problem quite a lot with some of these things. The ones that they say are particularly good for you, they're so expensive. But I suppose that's it. If you can make your own, and if the good bacteria are in that might be an idea actually. Another thing that they say I should have is the kefir. Again, I would be interested to try and make it. I've never done it before, but I'd be interested to try and make it. But I think again it is a bit of a process. And I don't know anyone that has made it before to like get tips or anything from them. But maybe I could look into that as well. I don't know if that's something you've tried making, Admiral Slam, if you make your own yogurt and cheese and stuff. Very good plan of action for the folding. I hope so. I think, do I need to Google it? Oh no, we'll go for it. We'll see what happens. We'll give it a bash. And if it's wrong, I can always fix it. So, have I got a spoon? No. Right, so I think my plan is I want to get a sort of a circular amount of rice on the bottom of the sheets. And then I'm going to layer everything else on top. Another layer of rice on the top of that, because I'm going to get my picture up again, just so that I know what it looks like. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go for a thin layer of rice. And then obviously you want to leave enough space around the outside that you're able to fold it up around it. And then because I've used the little half sheets, I've got 3 sort of joined together, and I'm hoping that'll be enough. Oh, this all smells so good. I'm really looking forward to this for my lunch. It's been ages since I've had sort of sushi or anything like that. Right, so I would say that looks like a good start. Obviously, if you've got the full sheets of nori, you could make it bigger and make a much bigger sandwich, but I find they're quite filling, the sandwiches anyway, so I don't feel like you need actually too much, because if you think about it, that's quite a lot of rice, because you're going to have that sort of twice. So I'll put another layer of rice like that on the top. Right, quick wash my hands quickly because I've got rice all stuck to them. And then I think we'll now put on, actually I think what I'm going to do is put on a little bit of this just onto the rice. Again, that's what I quite like, that's what I like about cooking, that it is, you can just sort of experiment with it and try some different things out. And I mean, obviously with some cooking there are kind of rules to it, but I think you should have a bit of fun in the kitchen. And I think if you have fun in the kitchen, the stuff that you make is going to taste nicer because you've enjoyed making it. So I think I'm going to put on a bit of tofu now. I'm just going to put one piece on because otherwise there's no way I'm going to get this. I could do with one more bit, I think. of the sushi, the nori sheets. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change it, and I'm going to use this one to cover the bottom, because otherwise I don't think I'm going to get it all the way around. See, this is really when you should practice beforehand. Right, so this I would say is not the way to do it. we've all learned that now. I'm just trying to imagine how this is going to work. No, I think this is going to be okay. So I'm going to do it like this. It's going to be a bit of a makeshift doodah here. So I'm going to keep layering it up, and then I can fold these up. These will do the sides, and then I can fold that over the top. Yeah, be fine. Right. Please everybody cross your fingers for me, because I'm not sure how this is going to go. Right, I'm just going to put a little layer of avocado on now. And again, I'm going to try and not have too many layers of everything, because obviously the more layers you have, the more you're going to have to kind of have enough of the seaweed to come up over the sides. I'm intrigued to see how this is going to turn out. So am I. I'll get cling film under it. Is it going to stick to the... So you can get a properly closed layer of seaweed. That's a good idea. This is why I enjoy cooking on Twitch, because other people can help you. If you get stuck, you can ask for advice, and then hopefully we'll end up with something that's really nice by the end of it. It's not hot anymore. Right. We'll rearrange all of this again. But I think in theory, we're going the right way. So I'm just going to add... So we've got our cling film now, so hopefully I'll be able to use that, as JC Pink has very, very well pointed out. I can use it then to get a proper good sort of seal on it. Okay. I haven't made kefir, but I've seen recipes for it. Yeah, it does look like an interesting one to make. Uses different kinds of bacteria than yogurt, and also uses yeast. Oh, of course. Bacteria is a starter culture to the milk to ferment, so as long as the temperature is controlled properly. See, that's it. You learn something new every day. I think I'd quite like to try making kefir. I've only ever tried like tasting it once, and it was a flavoured one, I think, so it wasn't all that nice, but it's supposed to be so good for you. Well done. Yeah, so it is supposed to be really good for you, so I think it would be interesting to try and make your own, but the flavoured one that I had, I think it was it tropical flavoured, and it didn't work with like the kind of creaminess of the kefir. It wasn't nice, so I feel like that's maybe put me off a little bit, but I'd like to try just like a plain version. You can wrap it around at the end. I hope it'll work that way. Yeah, I think, thinking about it, I feel like this is it's a good shout. So I'm just going to put some more of my veg on. I'm not going to put too much on, because otherwise I'm going to have no chance of wrapping this up after. And just put some. And then obviously you're going to chop this in half at the end, so you kind of want to place it, if you kind of think about the end goal that you want, you're going to chop it up in the middle, so you want to kind of place your veg in a way that it's going to look nice when you chop it open. I mean, to be fair, at this stage, I feel like if I can just get it wrapped I'll be doing well. And then anything else is a bonus. I mean, it's looking pretty chunky already. Can you see that okay in the camera? It looks okay. How are we looking? Oh, I think we're getting close. Do I want another? Right, I'm going to put a tiny layer of rice on the top. Just a tiny layer. So I'm really going to kind of squash it down. Just so that, because you want that kind of, the symmetry. And then hope that it doesn't all fall out. Press it down a bit already. Should I have done that before I put the rice on? Possibly. That's the problem with the rice as well. It just sticks to absolutely everything. So after me saying that this is a much easier way to make sushi, maybe it's not. Yeah, it's not really pressing down. We've got it a wee bit. Yeah, we'll keep going, we'll be fine. But yeah, after me saying, oh, it's a much easier, quicker way of making sushi. 2.5 hours later, but the thing is, you do this once and you've got enough sushi to keep you going for a wee while. You don't need to make like 3 or 4 different rolls of it. I'm sure it'll be fine. I do hope so. We'll soon see. We're not too far away now, so we shall soon see how it is. Oh, thank you very much for the follow, Mjay. Is that how you say your name? I hope you're well today on this grey and rainy Sunday. I hope it's nicer wherever you are. At least you'll get a big chunk of sushi in one go. Yeah, exactly. You just get a big bite of sushi rather than just a little. My local sushi restaurants make sushi. Yes, we were talking about that earlier. It's a kind of a similar concept to the sushi burritos. And I think it's a lot easier. Like, I quite like making this, and you can wrap it up in cling film and take it with you. So if you're going on a picnic like Johnny Scottish was earlier, or if you're going to work, it's a lot easier to take something like this than loads of individual sushi. So I do like it for that. Right, so what do we think? And how do they do that then? So is it just, instead of the wrap, they use the seaweed, and then everything else is kind of the same inside? Can we see this? Oh, of course, yeah. What would you put in it? Okay, a stray bit of rice. So there we can kind of see, can we see the layers? Kind of. Right, this is where I'm going to need luck. I'm going to try and roll it all together somehow. So basically I'm just going to take all of the edges and eat the rice that falls off the side, and kind of wrap it all together, and then bring this guy over the top. Oh, I think we've done it. I'm saying we because this has definitely been a collective effort. Oh, it looks beautiful. Right, and I think that was a very good idea, JC Pink, with the cling film. And then I can get it nice and tight. Oh, there's something quite nice about, some water. Thank goodness you're here. I mean, some of it's sticking a wee bit to the rice, but yeah, I think you're right enough. I think a wee bit of water would definitely help, just to sort of soften. I feel like this is like surgery or something. Not quite. Might stick to the rice. Yeah, it seems to be sticking to the rice quite well. It's not really sticking. Maybe it'll stick if I put a little bit of water on. Maybe it'll stick once I roll it up with the pressure, kind of. It's sushi ingredients like spicy tuna or California roll. Oh, I love spicy tuna. Absolutely love it. It's a shame I don't have any tuna actually. That would be nice to put in this today. Right, I've wet a lot of the corners. And I'm hoping that when I roll it up in the cling film, if I roll it nice and tight, the water will help stick it all together. And we've managed to cover the whole thing up. Oh, look at that. I mean, look at that. I'm really pleased with that. Looks great. Thank you very much. It was definitely a team effort today. Definitely team. Right, so I think I'm just going to give that a wee minute just to kind of stick together before I chop it open to show you. And then I can get rid of. And then the good thing about this is as well, I mean, look how much I've got. I'll show you in this one. So I've still got a whole chunk of the tofu. We've got quite a lot of rice. So you really, I mean, so what was that I made? I made 250 grams. Yeah, 250 grams of the rice. Nice parcel of sushi goodness. Exactly, that's exactly what it is. A parcel of sushi goodness. May I post a link? Yes, please. Oh, I'd love to see the sushi burrito. Please do post a link. That might give me some ideas for what to do with the rest of this as well. Yes, I made 250 grams of the rice, but I've only used maybe about 50 grams or so for this. So you could either just cook a lot less if you're only going to make one or two, or do as I did, make 250 grams, and then you've got enough to do some regular sushi, or you could do like a sushi bowl like I said earlier. I'm going to have a look at this link. If I can. There we go. Ah, so is that rice on the outside then? I thought that they would use almost like the nori sheets as kind of like the wrap. That looks good though. Again, I think there's just something nice about like a big chunk of sushi rather than all the little ones. But that looks delicious. So what was inside that one? Was it a spicy tuna one or? Right, so I'm gonna pop all of this to the side, and then I'll probably make a sushi bowl, I would imagine, with it, because I love a sushi bowl. And it's really, really nice and quick to just kind of throw together. And then I've got a big bowl of veg all ready to go. A nice quick and easy, nice quick and easy lunch. We'll pop that to the side, and then we've got our dip for when we're ready. And then while we're waiting for that just to kind of stick together, I'm going to show you the banana loaf, which we made what feels like a really long time ago. But it's nice and cool now. It's had a bit of a chance to rest, so I can show you that now. And then we can cut open our sushi sandwich, and hopefully it'll look really nice. Right. So we've got here is our banana loaf that we made earlier on, which I think looks really, really nice. I'll grab a wee knife and cut it open for you so you can see it. it a wee shake to get it out of the tin. So there we go. And if you want the recipe for the banana loaf, I've popped it in the chat, so you'll need to scroll up a wee bit, but it is in there. It's such a simple recipe, and it is gluten-free and vegan. Obviously you can adapt it to suit yourself. And then that's what it looks like inside, so nice and soft and fluffy. And then you've got the little chunks of chocolate. I've managed to cut open a bit that's not got a huge amount of chocolate, but you've got the kind of chocolate chunks running through it. And it's, oh, the smell of it, it smells so good. And if you do make the banana loaf, do tag me in it or send it to me on Instagram at Copper Confetti, and I'll have a wee look, because I do love to see if you've managed to recreate anything. I absolutely love looking to see what people are enjoying and all that. Right, so it's the moment of truth now. The moment of truth. Oh, the inside of it, right? We need to see this. Although I probably should have looked at this. Oh my god, that looks amazing. So what's the bit at the bottom? Is that like kind of, oh, is it crab? It looks almost like maybe crab with like soft cheese or something. And then the fish inside and the avocado. Oh, that looks amazing. See, now I'm quite jealous. Now I kind of wish I'd put fish or something in it. Hello, Lilith? Lilith, I think it is. Welcome, nice to see you. Thanks very much for the follow. And thank you for the follow, Copper Low Wolf. I like the name. Anything with a bit of copper, and you're immediately in my good books. If you've just joined us, we are coming to the end of the stream, but I can now show you what we've made. And I would say it's been a team effort today. I've had quite a bit of help from people in the chat, which has been amazing, because I probably would have struggled. It's definitely been one of those Sundays where I'm not 100% with it yet. But so first of all, we made this gorgeous gluten-free and vegan banana loaf. If you want the recipe for it, it's in the chat. You'll just need to scroll up a wee bit, or I can put it in the chat again once I'm finished. But it tastes amazing. Really, really quick, really simple. Half an hour in the oven. Delicious. Goes great with a cup of tea. Surimi with cream cheese in the bottom. That looks amazing. I've got a feeling, I think surimi is the one that I can't eat because it's full of wheat. But I could just put proper crab in, couldn't I? Just get like crab meat and mix it up with some cream cheese. Oh, see that? Yeah, no, that's what I want now. That that looks good. Thank you very much, Copper Low Wolf. To be fair, I mean it's one of the recipes that I make all the time because it's so easy. It works every time. Any food that works for you in a roll. Definitely. That looks good. See, that's it. I'm making everybody hungry today. I hope everybody has something nice for their Sunday lunch or their Sunday dinner or wherever you are, whatever time it is. Look, right, so if you've just joined us, we had a few issues to begin with. I didn't have as much of the seaweed sheets as I thought I did, so I had to kind of make do, and it was a bit of kind of arts and crafts almost with the wrapping of this, but we got there. It looks pretty good. I've got a tiny little gap, but that's tiny. I'm okay with that, and the rest of it's covered. So I wish I could remember which way I wrapped it up, because when I cut it open, there's going to be one way that's going to look really nice, and the other way is not going to look as impressive. But I don't know which way is which now. Right. Oh, that was silly. Let me see if I can tell from the, yes I can, right, that way. Okay, so are we ready to see how this looks? I hope I've got the right knife as well. I'm going to cut it open. My knife could definitely be sharper. It's worked! Right, are we ready for the big reveal? Just ignore the wee bits that are falling out the side. But look at that. Oh, I'm so happy. That's exactly how I wanted it. So we've got a layer of sushi rice at the bottom, and then we've got a layer of cornflake coated tofu, a layer of avocado, which I would say is my favourite part of sushi. I think it doesn't matter what else is in the sushi as long as there's avocado in it. And then we've got a layer of other veg, so I've just put in some carrot, some radish, some what's that called, cucumber, and some spring onion, and then another layer of rice at the top, and then it's all wrapped up in the seaweed sheets. And you can see it actually holds well, it holds really well. Thick sushi, it is, that is some thick sushi. Got spam musubi. Right, I'll need to keep an eye on, I'll need to have a wee look at that, because that, I would say that's the kind of sushi you want. I mean, that, you have one of them for your lunch, and that's you sorted. So I'm gonna just stick it on a wee plate and hope that it continues to hold together. Try and make it look nice. This is the difficult part, to try and get a good photo of it. Are we going to stay there? Can you see that? And then I'm just going to put a little bit of looks fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm so pleased with it, I'm not going to lie. It's been such a long time since I've made it that I wasn't 100% sure how it went again, but no, I'm really happy with it. I am French. Oh, nice to have you here. I hope you can understand my English, okay? My accent's quite strong, but hopefully it's not too difficult to understand. It looks so delicious. Thank you very much. I'm hoping it'll taste good as well. I just wish I could get it to hold so that I could get a nice picture. Is that going to stay? That looks quite good. And then I made a little, it's literally just some mayo with some sweet chili sauce, just because I quite like just a little bit of kind of creamy on the top. Just sort of dot that on with some, I've just got a mix of the white and black sesame seeds. Yes, you did. And I really feel like I need to go and try this now, because I don't think I've ever had Calvados. Oh, is Calvados, is that one that you do with, is it a tarte tatin? Is that with Calvados, or am I talking nonsense? I'm not sure. Yeah, exactly. So that must be quite interesting. If you've done all these travels, I bet you've got a lot of different languages. Apple crepe. Oh, yum. Oh, I could go some crepes as well. See, this is a problem. I could just eat all day, every day. Right, so I'm gonna just take a couple of quick photos. You'll see that I am on Instagram. I do quite a lot of food blogging, so you have to make sure you get some nice photos before you start eating anything. get a close-up of the thick sushi. And I'll take a quick one of my banana loaf. So that's me all done for today. I can actually go away and enjoy this now, which I'm definitely going to do. Turn it around that way and you can see it a bit better. So I'm definitely going to go away and enjoy this now because I am absolutely starving. Perfect for Sunday. But I will be back on Tuesday. There is a curry week, which is I'm really looking forward to it. It's been organised by another food streamer. So there's a few of us, I'm not quite sure how many of us there are, but there are a few of us that are all going to make a different kind of curry next week. So I am on Tuesday at 4 o'clock UK time, and I'm going to be making, again, the cornflake tofu with katsu curry. So if you like katsu curry, definitely come by on Tuesday afternoon, evening, and watch that wherever you are. Really looking forward to it. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you for everybody that followed. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a good Sunday. Hopefully a nice chilled one with some nice weather. And I will hopefully see you again on Tuesday. Bye, everyone.